Alright, what's going on everybody? Welcome back to another video here on the channel, and today I'm going to be talking about iDubbbz's most recent video because obviously this whole iDubbbz thing has been kind of going on for a while now. It really all more or less started with the Froggy Fresh Creator Clash 2 situation. I've already made videos talking about that and also iDubbbz's initial reaction slash response to Froggy Fresh and the drama that he made on his channel a few weeks ago. If you want to go watch those videos, I definitely recommend it, especially if you don't know exactly what is going on here, but I don't want to spend half the video recapping the same thing that I've had to recap already a couple times. So for the sake of time, I really just want to more or less focus in on just the recent video that iDubbbz released, because on its own and in and of itself, there's a lot to talk about. There's a lot of things that I kind of want to address. Now, I've been very critical of iDubbbz throughout this entire process, even when he, made some comments in his most recent video about his changed personality and things like that. It's been kind of one of the big things that a lot of the controversy around iDubbbz has been about, is how much he's changed over time. Obviously, iDubbbz is one of these creators that like half a decade ago or whatever, he was posting some pretty insane stuff, I guess, compared to what most people would call content on YouTube, right? Saying the N-word, making the Content Cop series and things like that, right? So iDubbbz built his career off of things like that, and now, he's gotten to a point where he feels like he's matured past that. He feels like he's more or less moved on in time compared to where he was, I guess, when he made the content that he made back in the day. And before we even get any further in the video, I just want to say, like, I don't even genuinely have a problem with that. I know there's a lot of people online that have been, like, extremely upset just at the idea that, iDubbbz would change his opinions on the content that he's made over time and, like, the things that he's said in the past. My issue isn't with, iDubbbz changing over time and, deciding that he doesn't want to make that type of content or even really endorse slash keep that kind of content up on his channel. That's really not my issue here. I know a lot of people have been pressed about that. That's not really what I care to focus in on. Like, it's fine if people change. It's fine if people don't like the content that they made in the past. For example, I want to bring up a really good example that even iDubbbz will be able to resonate with because he was friends with him, but Filthy Frank slash Joji, right? Like, Filthy Frank made content with iDubbbz and all the other, usual suspects in that kind of group of people, anything for views and all these other guys. Joji, at this point, I'll call him, he's not really Filthy Frank anymore. Joji has moved on, right? He's no longer doing that type of YouTube content. The Filthy Frank character's done. All these different things, right? But at the same time, you don't really see, like, Joji and iDubbbz handling it the same way, right? And Joji has been very successful in transforming his career and pivoting away from making edgy YouTube content, and now he's a very commercially successful, songwriter and whatnot. So it's not like people have like this huge deal with people moving on in life, and a lot of it for a lot of people, including myself, just comes down to the tone and the way that the message is being sent out. Like in iDubbbz's video, it feels a lot of guilt for the content that he made in the past. He even says, like, at one point, like, that he has to live with the content that he made forever. And he even, like, personally apologizes to Tana Mongeau and the people that he made Content Cops on. He isn't proud of those videos because he feels like he was just kind of, like, sending hate and harassment and shitting on creators when it really wasn't necessary. And throughout the video, and realistically throughout the last few years, iDubbbz has made note of these fans of his that he quote-unquote cultivated over time that just, harassed other creators in his name and whatnot and did shit in his name. He goes on to say, like, that he's responsible for it and that creators hold a responsibility for the way that their fan bases act. And I think it's a lot more nuanced than that. I think that it really depends, like the idea that just merely covering someone in a YouTube video or talking shit about someone in a YouTube video is quote unquote sending harassment someone's way is simply not true. I hate to be that guy, but that's just really not how it works. Like, just because you make a video talking about somebody's channel being dog shit on the internet doesn't mean that you're encouraging or explicitly even promoting the idea of harassing these creators. Like, in none of iDubbbz's videos did I ever, watching like a Content Cop or anything, did I ever get the like idea that, oh, this Tana Mongeau girl, she's kind of stupid. She says and does some really stupid stuff. Let me go fucking harass her on the internet. Like, that's not really like how I would say even most people probably reacted from that type of video. This idea that like making the Content Cops was like something that you have to live with for the rest of your life and it like created so many problems is just insane. Like, for every problem that it created, it also made a lot of people a lot happier. That's the perspective that Ian also doesn't spin content off this entire thing. Like, a lot of creators in the commentary community and like in the online community in general, like, enjoyed the Content Cop series, thought that a lot of valid points were made. I mean, it wasn't like Ian was completely wrong in these videos. He was making very, very good points about a lot of creators, but to pretend like there was no positive involved with some of this content is ridiculous. Now, of course, you know, Ian, another big thing that he mentions in this video and has been mentioning for a while is like his previous past usages of like racial slurs, like the hard R, the N-word, stuff like that, right? And his pushing of the ideology that either it's all okay or none of it's okay. And like, he disavows saying all these things, and like, he even says that that whole it's all okay or none of it's okay is very harmful and stupid. Now, I kind of agree and disagree at the same time. Like, yeah, like, especially the N-word in the United States, like, that holds a lot more weight and merit than a lot of other words and slurs do in a lot of places. But at the same time, like, he was making a fair point. Like, yeah, people should take racial slurs against all minorities and all groups of people seriously, right? Like, all ethnic groups should be covered by the idea of like, hey, you shouldn't be a racist prick to them, right? I feel like Ian in this video just kind of misses a lot of the good that he's caused. Like, I understand why he feels a certain type of way. Like, I mean, to pretend like a lot of these creators didn't get harassed or like maybe he could have done some things better, sure, like anyone could, but I don't see anything that he's done where he should feel like tremendous guilt. Like, it seems like this actually like really eats away at the dude, and like, I don't want or think that it should be that way. Like, yeah, maybe he did make some content that he's not proud of, and that's fine. Like I said, I know a lot of people are really pressed about that, and they're like, oh, how can he fucking disavow his previous content? And it's like, I get it. You know, he made these videos 6, 7, 8 years ago. He said shit he wasn't proud of in them. I also have made videos that I'm not necessarily proud of. I've said things in videos that I'm not necessarily proud of. It happens. Like, when you're making content and when you're doing these things and you're putting yourself out there like that, like, you're gonna make mistakes and you're gonna have shortcomings and you're gonna say and do things that you don't fucking agree with or that you don't like. That happens. And it's cool to take accountability. It's cool to be like, hey, I don't fuck with that anymore. I don't do that anymore. But my issue is the way that iDubbbz tries to like morally grandstand over everybody. That's what it really comes down to for me. Like, every time, you know, he goes on this fucking tirade about how he's changed and how, oh, I don't agree with my past content, it's always in the like name of appearing like holier than thou, appearing like, you know, oh, I've gotten so much better. Look at all these other people online that I'm better than now. It's like, yeah, sure, you made the change, you know, you decided that that wasn't what you want to do anymore, but you don't have to boost yourself up at the expense of pushing other people down. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, a lot of these people are mad that he's not fucking, you know, saying the hard R in his videos anymore or being fucking edgy and shit like that. But like, if you've really matured and grown up so much and like really figured out like, man, I'm better than I used to be, then just fucking be cool with that. Just be content with the fact that you bettered as a person. You don't need to go around fucking, you know, calling your old fans names and shit like that, you know? It just comes across as very self-conceited and like douchey. I don't know, like, I'm a commentary channel. I've made videos on other people. I've talked about other people. I've even criticized and in times downgraded other people through my content. But am I gonna fucking sit here and act like I need to go see a therapist or something because I'm just, you know, dealing with the burden and the weight of the content that I've made? No, dude, this is fucking YouTube videos. Like, it just comes across to me like Ian acts as if like he fucking killed 30 people with his actions in some way or something. Like, it really isn't that deep, bro. I don't know. And I'm just gonna go ahead and say it too, man. Like, this isn't really only about iDubbbz. This is about like a general trend I've kind of noticed online, but I've really noticed that out of all of these people that, you know, start fucking like morally grandstanding about how, you know, they've changed so much and how great they've become compared to who they were in the past and shit, right? Like, when you look at the creators who've gone that route and have switched up like that, you'll almost always notice that they just suddenly magically become this way too after the financial incentives for them to be the way that they're changing from have suddenly dried up. For instance, like iDubbbz in this situation, he really only started disavowing the way that he behaved in previous videos, and like, he only really started quote-unquote changing when like YouTube cracked down on shit, right? So a couple years ago, YouTube had started rolling out new policies for like monetization and shit on the platform to prevent adpocalypses and like ad pullouts and shit, and in those changes, a lot of it really kind of like softened how you can talk about other shit on YouTube, like being the edgy, somewhat racist YouTuber who fucking fucking bullies people for their content, right? That's not necessarily monetizable anymore on YouTube. You can't be some fucking goofy looking white dude on here saying the hard R and shit like that and treating that like content and expecting to get full monetization. So when it became, you know, demonetizable to do the whole content cop thing and, you know, fucking be edgy and stuff, suddenly all these creators just started gaining consciousness. You know, they just suddenly started fucking piecing everything together, where no longer were they gonna make edgy content, no longer were they gonna say fucked up shit, right? Like, it's just really funny how the timing for all that always seems to work out that way. Now, I don't want to outright accuse people like iDubbbz of just only doing it for financial purposes and shit, but like I said, it's just a very insane coincidence that that's always like the catalyst that fucking leads them down this path of figuring it all out. I don't know, man. At the end of the day, if he wants to change and he wants to pivot and do other stuff and disavow his old content, I don't have a problem with that, but to sit around and act smug about it and act holier than thou and act like you're fucking better than the people that used to literally pay your bills by, you know, watching your content and consuming your products and whatnot, right? Like, I don't know, that just doesn't really sit right with me, right? Like, I get that a lot of these people are like terminally online and they just really want to be able to say racial slurs and shit like that. I get that, but I just don't see what iDubbbz gets out of fucking constantly making these videos, like apologizing for shit and bending the knee and cowering to people online and shit. Like, what do you get out of that? You know what I mean? What exactly is your benefit out of all of this? And, you know, he says shit like, oh, I'm very insecure in my capability to make content that entertains without doing shit like that. And it's like, man, you've made videos about like squirrels in your yard that have gotten millions of views and shit like that. Like, bro, iDubbbz can be entertaining, and he doesn't even have to be the edgelord that he used to be entertaining. Like, he can make content that people want to watch and enjoy, but it's not gonna come if, you know, he constantly isolates his audience with 30-minute apology videos where he's apologizing for shit that happened over half a decade ago, acting as if like it's like the fucking worst thing that's ever happened. I just don't really, I don't know. I don't see why this needs to be the new route of iDubbbz. Like, the only content he's making these days is just him reacting to people shitting on him online and giving them more fuel to the fire to shit on him. It just doesn't make sense. It's like a self-abusing cycle damn near. So anyway, though, with that being said, thank you guys for watching. If you did enjoy, make sure to leave a like, subscribe if you're brand new around here on the channel, follow me over on Twitter and Twitch at @SubTheOptimus. Make sure to check out Shoptimus down below. Thank you to my Watch Optimus subscribers. Your support helps the channel tremendously. And until my next video, guys, this is Optimus, well, talking about the new iDubbbz response video and signing out.